Welcome to the Great Lakes Fishing Podcast. We're on Lake Michigan right now with Captain Bob Hinds. Captain Bob, how you doing?
Really good, really good. It's been a beautiful morning, I'd say.
Yeah, this is not our usual podcast.
No.
Been doing a bunch of them from the floor of shows, and we do stuff, a lot of stuff, via online. But today we're actually out in the boat doing some fishing, and had a great morning this morning out on Platte Bay in Lake Michigan, jigging cohos. Tell me a little bit about that.
We did. I guess the first thing we should say is we kind of knocked the monkey off the back for you. We finally got your first salmon jig in.
Yeah, that was insane.
It was a little hectic for a split second there, wasn't it?
It got pretty crazy there for a bit. A bunch of fish moving through and some bites, and it's something that I'd never done before. And you texted me and you're like, "Hey, you're in the neighborhood. Let's meet up and go do this." And it was like, absolutely.
The power of social media had us connect pretty quickly there, like 48 hours ago. I'm like, oh, and we talked about this like a month ago. I was asking you some stuff about the fish hawk probe, and you're like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be up there in late August. I was like, hopefully we can connect. And I was just like, I literally have Monday morning off, and I got something that you might really like.
Yeah.
Like, you may really like what I got going on right now. So.
Yeah, the trolling program's a lot of fun, but to catch them jigging and rod in hand was something really special, and it's something that I've never done before, and it was a ton of fun.
It's very intimate. It's, I have a very long 4-month season of trolling, and I absolutely love my trolling program, probably mostly because it's in National Park, up at the Manitou Islands most of the summer. And it's just, the scenery's good, but then you shut these loud things off, and you put a rod in hand, and all of a sudden you've got Mother Nature. You got these sunrises coming up over the National Park, Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes, and you've got a couple thousand coho swimming around you, and they're actually active and biting, and you can land a jig in their mouth. It's hard. It's indescribable. I know was on the podcast a couple of years ago, the traveling one there, and we talked about Platte Bay basically, and I'm glad that you could come out here and share it.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I appreciate you extending the invite. And
Absolutely.
It was a ton of fun. You were telling me today that one of the things that you've done in the past is kind of done a road show yourself where you're out and explaining to people how to do this.
Yes.
Can you kind of give us a little touch on that a little bit, some pointers if somebody wanted to try doing this, just kind of give them a short kind of a nickel tour on how you do it.
Absolutely. So to effectively jig salmon, obviously we're jigging coho right now. So first of all, you got to think about staging fish. You're going to fish harbors. I know there's a lot of animosity in Ludington right now about the harbors and stuff, but you don't have to go to Ludington. I jig a lot of my coho right here in Frankfort, out of Frankfort, Kings, in the harbor of Frankfort. Basically, it's a very cost-efficient way to get you some salmon. You need one rod. If I had to have one rod, I'd have a 7-foot, medium heavy, fast action, loaded up with 20-pound braid, 25-pound leader for Kings, 20-pound for coho. Today we are using Jonah jigs. Good friend of mine, Larry, he produces the jigs. 2 and 3 ounce for Kings, 1.5 ounces for the coho. You don't have to have a ton of baits like you think you have to have trolling. You need to go out there with 2 or 3 colors. More so, pay attention to what Mother Nature's doing. Pay attention to your winds. If you have big north winds and the lake's rolling over for us here in Frankfort, we love to see that. But more personally, what I love to see staging Kings in Frankfort is a hard south blow. We just went through a hard south blow. It absolutely loads that harbor down. So if you see north wind, or even if it's kind of mild like it's been, 75-degree days, look for the wind coming hard out of the south. It's going to lock those fish in the harbor, and get in there. If they're flying through, use a 3-ounce jig. If they've kind of been in there for 48 hours, look at a 2-ounce jig, and just keep it moving. The fish eat on the drop. I've said it before, you do it enough, you can kind of almost feel it land right in their trap, right in the mouth. So definitely don't be afraid to take off at a moment's notice, from your job. If you can slide out early, there's nothing wrong if you get a big south blow or a big north blow followed up by a south blow. Hurry up and get out of work and go in the evenings. I've hit fish at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon before. So.
All right, the fish we were chasing this morning were really kind of on the bottom, and we're fishing basically right off the bottom.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Is that kind of what this program looks like?
That's the standard Platte Bay jigging program. Something that I talk with a lot of my buddies, like, you want flow. Even when you're jigging kings, you want fish flowing past you. Your aggressive fish are going to be coming out of those pods, and you're not singling every fish. You're looking for the aggressive fish. That even with coho, not even, you know, kings, aggressive fish, you're looking for a response to eat that jig. I see it all the time. I run live scope every day. So if you have a good flow of consistent fish, maybe it's 5 foot of density off bottom and they're flowing past, just keep it moving. You know, they eat on the downstroke, so feel when you go down, pick it up. But, you know, my first time beginners, I literally just, like I did with you this morning, go down, touch bottom, feel the jig lift off bottom. Okay, now give me 2 cranks, and that's it. And just work it right there. And coho, naturally, when you hook them up, they come up spinning. You can't reel fast enough, as you learned, Chris. So, you know, if you hook up and you feel it pop off, don't come up and look at your jig. Put it right back down there, because, you know, aggressive fish are flowing through in those pods.
Yeah, drop it right down, and like you said, just reel
until it hits the surface, because by the time they hit the surface, they are going to go sideways, and that's when it gets fun. It's light tackle, you know. It's not big gear trolling. It's very intimate, rod in hand. And sometimes, I mean, the other day I had 4 clients on the boat, and I had all 4 hooked up at once, and with one net it gets a little hectic, you know.
Tell me a little bit. You kind of touched on the electronics end of it. How do electronics play a role in your program for jigging?
Huge. Live scope is the new spot lock. I think you and I talked about that this morning. Everybody seems to have one on their boats now. Personally, I run the Garmin XR, the extended range. I can look out to 275, 300 feet. I'm just following the fish, you know, looking for density of fish. And, you know, if we are jigging, you want flow going past you. If you're casting, you're looking for fish that are up off bottom. You know, there's a lot of fish coming up breaking surface, especially in the evenings. You know, those are the fish that I'm targeting if I'm throwing spinners. So my electronics, I'm in a habit of turning on my mapping now. I'm rewriting all my own mapping. Garmin has that lovely feature, so I turn it on, record my own. Even when I'm trolling, I'm recording my own mapping. Standard 2D sonar, you know, it's good to see that they're underneath you, and if you don't have live scope, don't feel like you can't come out here and catch fish, because I caught fish for years out here with live scope. It's just about speed and staying on top of fish at this point for my clients.
Yeah, you're moving around, so it's not like we're going to sit in one spot and just sit there. I mean, if there's no fish, then we're moving to the next spot.
You're moving. So if you don't have live scope, just pay attention to your 2D, and when you see density, just know that that's where you need to drop and get that jig down there as fast as possible.
You talked about Jonah jigs. You have a special one, and that was the one that I actually hooked up a fish with today.
You did.
Tell me about that.
Where is she? Yeah, hold on. Do I get one over here? No, I'm gonna grab one. Hold on here. She's a special girl. There we go. She's a special girl. Larry, the owner of Jonah Jigs, and I are really good friends. He helped me through the years. The rule at Jonah Jigs is if you design a jig and you catch a fish on it, you get to name the jig. If you don't design the jig, but you catch the first fish on it, you get to name the jig. I designed a jig based off a trolling spoon that I saw for years. My ex-first mate, Maud, my English Bulldog, was always with me. And I had the idea of making a trolling spoon. This one's pretty chewed up. And it was not a trolling spoon, but a jigging spoon based off this trolling spoon that I was hammering coho on all season. And naturally, I go out, we catch fish on it, and I get to name it. And my clients are whipping fish on it. So we named it the Maud Dog. And Maudie's no longer with us. She passed this past spring. But she was always on the boat. People roll up next to me, where's the Bulldog still? How's the Bulldog? But this morning I was like, you know, they've just been eating it. It was hot last year, it's hot this year, and after trying a few on Chris's rod this morning, I was like, well, maybe this is just a sign we're gonna put Maud Dog on it. And it just took minutes, and you had your first salmon. So yeah, that's pretty much one of my staple spoons now. I got some other over here.
Well, for people who are watching this or listening via the podcast and not video, describe the color pattern a little bit on the Maud.
Yeah, absolutely. She's 3 colors. She's green on the bottom, yellow chartreuse in the center, and orange on the top, and then just UV ladder, and then a glow set of eyes. But the entire paint scheme, that's the best part about Larry's jigs, the Jonah jigs, they're all paint. So, or all glow paint. So in the dark she looks pretty hot. In the daytime she looks extra spicy. So it's a great little spoon. Easter egg is another one. That's a staple for us early in the year for coho. Once again, an all glow spoon. But if you want to fish a pretty cool spoon with a story behind it, it's definitely Maud.
If people want to reach out and order some of these Jonah jigs, how do they find them?
They can call Larry. Larry's got quite the little system. He makes his jigs right out of his garage. So you're going to get a life story, or he's going to put them out in his mailbox and you can pick them up. He does have a website. You order right off his website. It's jonahjigs.com. Half the time I'm in his lab putting on hooks and eyes. For some reason he doesn't let me paint. I don't know why. Maybe I shake too much. Maybe I get a little, off task, but I get the grunt work and that's okay. And then when it comes to making spinners, we make a little bit of spinners. We have fun, but sometimes we cry, sometimes we laugh, sometimes we pray. But it's good comedy over there. And if you do stop by Larry's house, you can probably plan on staying for an hour and having a talk about everything in life.
Yeah, we were chatting with Larry today. We had him basically right next to our boat for quite a bit of the morning. Tell me a little bit about some of the kind of the special times you've had with him.
Oh gosh, we have so many memories together. We've been buddies for a while. He's a pastor at church that I attended to, and he's no longer a pastor. He's a full-time jig maker now. But we did a 7-day road tour of teaching people across West Michigan how to jig. I was sharing the story with Chris about sitting in downpours in the truck at 4:30 in the morning, just crying because we want our people we're trying to teach how to hook up fish, eating cheap horrible meals at 1 a.m., more praying, more laughing, more crying, slimy high fives, calling each other at 3 in the morning, having to come to Jesus talks. He really has a good heart. He's a phenomenal fisherman. I can't thank Larry enough for helping me personally in my program and with my clients. He's really watched me have a lot of success on his jigs. If I have an idea, he's quick to make it. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to spinners, I don't think I'm going to get spinners unless I actually show up to Larry's house and put them together. So that's a whole nother project of spinners that we do, but I don't even know if he'd be willing to sell them.
I pulled into Ludington a couple days ago on the SS Badger, and the harbor was just packed with boats. This morning with us fishing on a Monday, it wasn't real busy, but what is it typically like out here on a weekend?
Oh, madness. I was out all weekend long running trips. Yesterday, I think it was about 5:45, I pulled into Platte Bay, East Platte Bay. I looked around, I think I counted like 41 boats in the dark. This morning we had a troll boat go past us probably about 5:40, 5:45. His boards were, I actually offered to move back a little. You can fully expect madness. Labor Day weekend is coming up this coming weekend, and there is a campground right here. Guys are going to be camping it. I've got clients that are calling me coming up from Ohio. They're going to spend 7 days here in the campground fishing coho. So it's going to phase out a little bit on the weekends. It'll still be a little bit busy, but we got a lot of other great things in northern Michigan coming up in the middle of September. So I suspect this Labor Day weekend to be a little bit crazy with the fishing, but other than that, I think I'm going to see it taper out. But about the first 2 weekends in Platte Bay, it's a little hectic.
Yeah, when does this whole thing kind of wrap up?
Gosh, I wish I could predict when it started. I plan every year September 1st for it to start, and I know that we'll be getting a few coho, and I figure I've fished them as late as the 25th of September, 24th of September. This year I plan to be done around the 15th, 16th, and then just take a little bit of a vacation. I think that you can come out to the mouth of the Platte and throw spinners here and hook up fish right through September 21st, 22nd.
Anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about today?
No, absolutely not. I just really like my workplace. It's in a national park. I mean, the sunrises are beautiful and the sunsets are even better. So very blessed to be here. I'm thankful for my clients.
I think we covered most of it. Somebody wants to get in touch with you and try this. How do they get a hold of you?
Oh, I like to be called. I like to be texted, mostly texted. They can always get on my website at www.centralcoastangling.com. They can jump on social media, same handle, Central Coast Angling, Facebook, Instagram. If you get on the website, just grab my phone number off the website and text me. I love text messages from new clients.
He is Captain Bob Hinds from Central Coast Angling, and really appreciate you taking me out today. It was a ton of fun, and I got to do something that I never got to do before.
I had an
so
absolute blast.
very cool.